Okay, Shanna, let's paint a picture. A scenario that we see play out all too often. An elderly woman is at home and the phone rings. The voice on the other end is panicked and says, "Grandma, it's me. I'm in trouble."
Oh, the one that just makes your heart sink. The classic grandparent scam.
Yes. The voice sounds a little off, but she's so overcome with worry for her grandson that she doesn't question it. The person on the phone says they've been arrested in another country and need bail money wired immediately, and they beg her, "Please don't tell Mom and Dad. They'll be so mad at me."
It's such a cruel manipulation, and it just breaks my heart for the elderly of our generations, but it preys on their love and their instinct to protect their family. Also, while isolating them by telling them to keep it a secret.
And in a state of panic, wanting to help, she goes and wires thousands of dollars. It's not until hours later when she finally gets a hold of her actual grandson, she realizes the horrible truth. Her money's gone forever.
And unfortunately, it's a heartbreaking story, but a stark reminder that as we or our loved ones get older, the financial world can present a new and different set of challenges, and the stakes are incredibly high.
Welcome back to Making Sense of Your Sense. I'm Daniel Hill.
And I'm Shanna Browning. And today what we're focusing on, as we told in our story, is a very important topic, banking for seniors.
We'll be discussing strategies for simplifying and managing retirement income, how to avoid, spot the scams that specifically target older adults, and the importance of having a trusted support system in place for our finances.
So Daniel, as you stated, let's just start with the transition into retirement. So for decades, you're used to a regular paycheck coming in, and then, you know what? Hey, I want to retire. And then that stops. The cash flow situation changes dramatically. What's the biggest adjustment people need to make?
Well, the biggest adjustment is moving from an accumulation mindset to a distribution mindset. Your whole life, you're working and it's about accumulating assets. While in retirement, you have to create a strategy to turn those assets into a reliable monthly quote unquote paycheck to live on.
And what does that paycheck and where does that typically come from?
Well, it's usually a combination of sources. The foundation for most people is Social Security. Then you have pensions if you're fortunate enough to have one. And finally, you have distributions from your personal retirement savings like your 401k or your IRAs. A key part of this is understanding required minimum distributions or RMDs.
Well, and it's a term that if you don't really know a lot about can cause some confusion. So what are RMDs?
Well, for most retirement accounts like traditional 401ks and IRAs, the government requires you to start taking money out once you reach a certain age, which is...
So the requirement.
Correct.
Okay.
And that age is currently 73. The government allowed you to save that money tax deferred for decades, and now they want you to start withdrawing it so they can collect the income tax on it.
Again, it's important to get this right because there are big penalties if you don't, right?
The penalties are significant. A key part of managing retirement income is knowing your RMD amount for the year and having a plan to withdraw it. Our best advice here is to simplify. A great strategy is to have all of your income sources, your Social Security, your pension, and your RMD withdrawals deposited directly into one primary checking account. And that becomes your cash flow hub.
Well, and I like that, right? Just put it all together. And then from there, you can set up automatic recurring transfers to pay your regular bills.
Right. Automating your mortgage or your rent, your utility bills, and your insurance premiums from that one central account can take a huge mental load off of you. It ensures your core expenses are always covered on time. As we age, the less we have to actively manage, the better. Simplicity is a key to finding financial peace of mind in retirement. Now, Shanna, let's dive deeper into the topic that we started to talk about at the beginning of our episode. It's an unfortunate reality that seniors are often the primary target for financial scams. And as the bank's security officer, this is something I am very, very passionate about.
And me too, because I don't understand why it's a huge problem, and I don't understand why are our seniors so often targeted?
Well, Shanna, there are a few reasons. Scammers know that seniors are more likely to have a significant nest egg saved up. They also know that seniors are more often more polite and less likely to hang up on a stranger. And finally, scammers prey on a potential lack of familiarity with the latest technology.
Scammers. We just don't like them.
Mm-mm.
So we've talked about that grandparent scam. And so what are some of the other specific scams that disproportionately target older adults?
Well, the tech support scam is huge. You'll get a pop-up on your computer or a phone call saying your device is infected with a virus, and they need you to grant them remote access to fix it. Once they have access, they can install malware to steal your banking passwords. Another big one is the romance scam, where a scammer builds a fake online relationship over weeks or even months, and then starts asking for money for a fake emergency.
I tell my dad, don't answer the phone. If you don't know it, don't answer the phone. What is the single most important piece of advice to remember to avoid these, though?
Well, like you said, don't answer the phone.
That's right.
One simple rule is never give money or personal information to someone based on an unsolicited phone call, text, or email. If someone calls you, creating a sense of urgency and demanding money, it's a scam 100% of the time. The second rule is pause and verify. If you get a call from your grandson, hang up, call your grandson back on the phone number you already have for him. If you get an email from a bank, don't click the link. Call the bank directly using the number on the back of your debit card. Hey everyone, it's Daniel Hill from First Century Bank. If you've enjoyed listening to Making Sense of Your Sense, and you found our tips helpful for your financial journey, I want to ask you a quick favor. Please take a moment right now to hit that subscribe or follow button on your favorite podcast app. It's the best way to make sure you never miss an episode, and it helps other people in our community find the show. We also really want to hear from you. Do you have a question we haven't answered yet, or just want to let us know what you think of the podcast? If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave us a comment directly on the episode page, or you can always send us an email at podcast@fcbtn.com. We're building this show for you, and your feedback helps us make it even better. Thanks so much for listening and for being part of this journey with us.
Those are some great rules to live by. And what should someone do if they realize they have been scammed?
Well, that is so very important. There's no shame in being a victim. These scammers, they're professionals.
Yep.
The first thing you should do is call your bank immediately. Call us. We can help. We can take steps to further protect your account. The second is to report it to your local police department and then to the Federal Trade Commission or the FTC. Reporting it can help prevent others from becoming victims.
Well, and I think too, for us in our industry, I think it's important that people understand this happens way more than they think
Absolutely.
It happens, and that they shouldn't be embarrassed.
Yes.
We're going to help you. We're not there to judge you.
Mm-mm.
We're here to help you. So I think that also leads basically perfectly into our final and most important topic. And as we age, managing everything on our own can become more challenging. And so when you have a trusted support system for your finances, it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of wisdom.
Absolutely. It's one of the most proactive and protective steps a senior can take. And it starts with one simple but crucial conversation with your adult children or trusted loved one. You need to have someone in your life who knows where your financial documents are.
Tell me what you mean by that.
Well, someone needs to know the location of your will, your bank account information, your insurance policies, the passwords to your online accounts. This information should be stored in a secured location like a safe deposit box or a fireproof safe at home, and that trusted person should know how to access it in an emergency.
And I think what we want to say is this isn't about us telling you to give up control of your finances.
No.
It's about ensuring that if something happens to you, a medical emergency, for example, someone you trust can step in to make sure your bills continue to get paid and that your financial life doesn't fall into chaos.
Exactly. And there are formal legal tools to set this up. The most common is a durable power of attorney. This is a legal document that gives a person you choose, your agent, the authority to make financial decisions on your behalf if you become unable to do so. This is something you should set up with an attorney while you're healthy and of sound mind. It's a foundational piece of estate planning.
Well, and I'm my dad's power of attorney. So it's something that needs to be done and talked about in families. But there's also a simpler step you can take right at the bank.
Yes, you can add a trusted contact to your account. This is a person you authorize the bank to contact in specific situations, such as if we suspect financial exploitation or have concerns about your well-being. This person cannot make transactions or see your balances. They are simply a resource for us to contact on your behalf to help protect you. It's a fantastic first layer of protection that is very easy to set up. This has been a really important conversation, and it's one that we hope families will have together. And that leads us directly to this week's actionable tip.
So your action item for this week is to have the trusted contact conversation.
If you're a senior, your action is to identify the one person in your life, a child, a sibling, a lifelong friend, who you trust implicitly with your financial affairs. Your task is to have a conversation with them. It can be as simple as saying, I want to make sure you're aware of my financial situation in case of an emergency. Can we set aside some time to talk about it?
And if you're the adult child of a senior, your action is to initiate this conversation with your parents. You can say, Mom, Dad, I want to make sure I know how to help you if you ever need me. I'd feel a lot better if I knew where your important documents were and who your financial contacts are.
Now, this conversation can be a little awkward, but it's one of the most loving and responsible conversations a family can have.
Yes, it is.
It provides peace of mind for everyone involved. The first step can be as simple as calling us to add that trusted contact to your account.
And it's about care and preparation. And it's really a gift to everyone in the family. So thank you for joining us for this important conversation.
Well, we are nearing the end of our very first season, and we're so thankful that you've been on this journey with us. We appreciate you, and we thank you for being our listeners.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of Daniel Hill, I'm Shanna Browning. Thank you for listening, and go out and make some sense of your cents.